Hiya, and thank you so much for joining me in this presentation today. So I'm not sure if you are aware, but I have done two other videos, one on how to begin your search if you are looking to purchase land, and the second is how to be part of an off-grid community or how to start an off-grid community. So if you are interested in that as well, feel free to look at my previous videos as well. Hopefully they can be informative and helpful. So today again is about the Farmstead Community Project. And I am the founder of Micro Communities. My main objective is basically to make land accessible and affordable for people who would love to either live off of the land, maybe have a form of ethical business off of land, or just want to support or be stewards of the land. So just in case if you don't know who I am, my name is Midi, and I am a permaculture consultant and a herbalist. So my specialty is mainly in social permaculture and in homestead designs, small scale farming and beekeeping, and also livestock. Now, when it comes to my herbalism experience, is mainly in African herbalism, but I also do have knowledge in Eastern, and also going through this wonderful journey of getting my Western medical license here in the UK. So my philosophy is very, very simple. When it comes to animals and plants, as long as they are nurtured the right way and the soil is taken care of, then that's when you will taste the medicinal sweetness it has to offer. So within my career of the last 9 years, I've been very blessed to have collaborated and worked alongside with quite a few organizations. Also, when it comes to locations, I am based in the UK, but I have done projects again internationally. A lot of my projects again is usually around the social permaculture aspects. That's something that I really love, which is how to use permaculture to bring communities together. So I tend to do projects like around seed swap, chicken co-ops, seed banks, trying to get people to grow together, ecotherapy, bee stewardship, like beekeeping, getting people to understand how to connect with land. And I'm very, very humble and blessed to have won some awards based on some of the projects that I've done local. So just to bring you back to why you're probably all here, it's mainly about the Farmstead Project. And I wanted to just kind of set the intention and the space in terms of what the actual vision is. So it's to be a fully sustainable community aiming to produce what is needed. This will include food, materials, again, energy, so green energy. And I would love for this project to be a blueprint for others to learn from and have communities like this all over the UK. So again, the mission is quite simple. In this case, is to set up a community using regenerative permaculture principles. This will include, again, low impact, environmental friendly accommodations. And this community will be centered around the farm and again, the communal space. So it's about trying to bring people together, like-minded people together. So within this presentation, I will touch base upon what a co-op is, just in case there may be people who are watching this presentation who haven't watched my previous presentations. So just to go over what a co-op is, the value of a co-op, and why we're going to be adopting some of this into the Farmstead Project. And then we'll go a bit deeper into the vision of the Farmstead Project, how to get involved, and then just popular questions that people has asked, because I have done a couple of Zoom meetings already with people who has registered their interest. So some of the questions that they have asked within that presentation, I have taken that on board, because maybe those may be questions that you might also be interested in. So hopefully we'll go through that, and any questions that you may have later on, again, please feel free to email micro communities. I will definitely have our email on the screen further down the line, so you can always email us and hopefully we'll be able to answer some more of your questions. So the power of a co-op. Let's talk about a co-op. So what is actually a co-op? Now, this is when a group of people come together for a common goal that will benefit all of them. So they make their own rules, which are usually fair, and they basically govern themselves. So there's no third party like the government or anybody else governing them. They govern themselves, they have these wonderful conversations amongst themselves, and then they decide together what exactly they would like to achieve and what they would like to do. Now, people are not aware that there are so many co-ops that exist today. They may not have the term co-op in their title, but when you look at the way they operate, or maybe when you look deeper into their legal structures, then you will notice that what they are is basically a co-op. So I thought, let me go through some examples of current co-ops that maybe you have been part of if you have attended some of my sessions, or maybe some of my other projects, or maybe co-ops actually around you that you don't really recognize or realize that they were a co-op. So an example is the chicken co-op a project that I established earlier this year. And the way this works is that I set out a question asking people, you know, when it comes to maybe having chickens or wanting fresh eggs, you know, what is preventing them from being able to start that journey? And I got a lot of interesting suggestions and reasons for why they couldn't. Some were maybe due to lack of space, maybe they don't have a garden. Some was around finance, and some was around maybe don't want to have that burden on themselves by themselves because they may have other commitments like working full time, you know, maybe children, maybe caring. So after listening to some of the reasons, this is where I thought a chicken co-op would really, really work well. And it's about 3 people. I gave a rough total of how much it would cost to get everything set up. It was, I think, about 1,500. This was evenly distributed between the 3 members, so they only had to pay £500 each. They had these wonderful conversations in terms of maybe where the chickens will stay, if one of them had a garden. Also, how often the other 2 members may be able to come and help, and how often they'll be able to get their eggs. So this is a wonderful example of a lovely co-op. Common goal is to be able to nurture, you know, chickens and have fresh eggs and be able to benefit all 3 members. Now, another common co-op that people may not be aware of is something called the money pot. I know there's other communities may call it partner. There's some communities that may call it ajo. But this basically is when you have a group of members, there could be 5 of them, and the goal is to be able to save money collectively and support each other financially. So each member will put, let's just say, £100 into the pot, and each month a member would be selected to take the whole £500. So this tends to help maybe people who may struggle trying to save money, or it can maybe help certain members who have a bit of spare cash and they may want to help other people in the meantime. So again, this is a wonderful idea and example of how a co-op can be very beneficial in this setting. So another example of a co-op is the cooperative or co-op food. Cooperative food, they actually are a shop. I know I'm based here in London and it's very, very popular. It's usually like a corner shop that you can walk down to get, get your bits and bobs. And people don't realize that this originally started with a group of people that lived in the same community. And at the time, they really struggled to purchase basic items because it was quite expensive. There was a time when sugar and flour and milk were actually luxury items. So what this group of individuals, they came together, they brought their money together and they started buying in bulk because then it will end up being cheaper. And that is how the first cooperative food shop started, and obviously now it's still living on today, which is amazing. And another example, which is my personal favorite, is the seed cooperatives. So their goal and vision was that they were not happy with the way GMO seeds has crept in to communities now, and they really love the idea of trying to save, heirloom heritage seeds. So this again is a group of people, and their goal is to be able to save seeds and redistribute heirloom organic seeds to the community, and they actually operate as a co-op. So I'm sure there's many other co-ops around. I know there's the cooperative bank, so many different examples of co-ops around you. So what are the positives of being in a community or in a co-op? The first positive is the financial burden. Usually when a group of people come together to purchase land, for example, in this case, if you purchase a small amount of land, maybe you yourself wanted to just purchase 1 acre, it's usually quite expensive. Well, if you go for a larger piece of land, maybe it could be 10 acres or 15 acres, you will start to realize that per acre, it becomes cheaper. So in this case, finding a group of like-minded people to be able to purchase land together could be quite beneficial. Other things is that when you're buying land, it's not just about purchasing the land. There are other additional costs that comes afterwards as well, like your legal fees. Maybe you want to do some tests on the land. Now, if you have a group of like-minded people and you're in a community and you're buying land collectively, then you get to share the legal fees. So again, it's just reducing some of that financial burden. When it comes to expensive equipment, you can all chip in the money and then borrow it from time to time, the equipment. So again, you're just sharing resources and sharing equipment. So I'm sure there are many reasons why financially it becomes less of a burden. And a good example is, again, when I done my first event, we had a wonderful guest speaker who was explaining, her wonderful journey into purchasing her land. And one of the things that she said that she found quite challenging is that at the time she had to put some fencing around her land. And when she looked to see and get quotes, some of the quotes that she was getting was £10,000. Now, for one person, that could be very overwhelming to have to pay that amount of money up front. Whilst if you're within a community and there's maybe, let's just say 10 members or 20 members, you can collectively then put that money in. So it's easier to spend maybe £500 contribute towards fencing than you having to spend £10,000 by yourself. Now, another positive is about having the support. When you're in a community, you realize that there are many people that will have different skills and are willing to even share or even teach some of these skills. So that's really wonderful. Also, I put on their customers. Now, if you're somebody who's purchased the land and now you've purchased it for the sake of maybe starting an ethical business, if you're in a community where there's maybe 9 other people, they automatically can become your customers, which is brilliant. Or even better, they can bring customers to you. So if those 9 individuals maybe recommend 5 other people to your services, you can already see how that support would help you get your ethical business, off the ground, basically. Another positive thing is that maybe some of the members in the community may even become your business partner. So there are some co-ops where farmers within that local area, rather than having individual shops, they collectively have one shop, and this one shop, they put all their products. So let's just say there's maybe 5 farmers in that community. Rather than having 5 different shops, they've all got one shop. And again, they share that burden. They share the burden of the cost of running the shop. They share in terms of maybe having to have staff members. So again, it's easier for 5 farmers to come together to pay the staff. And also, again, you get to maximize your profits, because a lot of your profit isn't having to go towards the running costs. So all members, again, are able to work together and benefit in this situation. And one other thing that I wanted to bring attention to, being part of a community, is again the safety and the social aspect. Now, I know we all love the idea of nurturing the land and taking care of our animals, but if you are doing this on your own every single day, it can get a bit lonely. If you can imagine yourself on 10 acres of land, it can be lonely, it can be overwhelming. There was a story that I came across where there was a gentleman who is actually part of an Amish community. And there was one particular week where he injured himself on the farm and he was in bed for about 2 weeks. It was just so lovely to see members of his community step up. There were some that were cooking him food so that he could really focus on healing. There was other members of the community that were, taking care of some of his animals in the meantime, just for him to be able to heal. And also, a wonderful thing is as well is the security. If you are on the land and there is anything maybe that you may not be aware of, or maybe you might be nervous about, it's nice to be able to contact somebody that that is about 5 minutes walk from you. So you feel very safe being on the land, especially if you're going down the route of wanting to live a bit more off grid. And then just the friendships that blossom from being in a space of like-minded people. Now, this was just a few positives. I'm sure there is hundreds of positive reasons of why being in a community, being in a co-op community can be really beneficial. Now, as many people know, UK laws can be tricky to get around. Again, this is not impossible. Once you know some of the legal loopholes, then, and again, depending on the type of community that you want to set up. So I just wanted to just let people know again, when you are in a situation where you are doing this as a community, the ideas are flowing, solutions are popping up, and you get to really understand the legal loopholes. And when you are in a co-op, it really strengthens you when it comes to some of these legal loopholes, when it comes to the UK law on agricultural land. Now, there's usually 2 main ways that people can live in a community. Usually it's the shared accommodation or the shared land. Now, when it's the shared accommodation, this is when you have one main building, but share the land around the building. And then you have the second option, which is the shared land. And this is when you have acres of land, which is then divided between each member. This will be their own allotted plots that they own and control. And a section of the land can be used as a communal area. Now, I'm going to be focusing mainly on the shared land approach, only because this is the direction that we're going to be going in when it comes to the Farmstead Project. Now, I'm not sure if some people are aware of permaculture or if they're aware of Bill Moseley's book, the Permaculture Manual, especially chapter 14. But when it comes to the shared land option, this tends to be the most popular option. And this is one of the options that Bill Moseley really recommends in his book, in the Permaculture Manual. You can kind of see why, because I feel like you get the best of both worlds. You get the best of both worlds in terms of you have your own homestead. So you have your own space and you are able to choose your accommodation. You can grow according to your needs. You can have your privacy. I know there are maybe some people that may have certain personalities where they like to be in their own space for them to be able to recharge. And there's nothing wrong with that. There are some people who recharge being amongst other people. So in this option, you get to have your own privacy and your own space. Again, it's more family friendly, which I think is a plus. And it's easier for your next of kin to inherit because you know exactly where your borders are when you have your own homestead. And then you have the added benefit of the community that you are within. So you get to share your resources, you feel more financially stable. There is safety again in numbers because there are people on the land as well. So it's not, so you feel more secure. There's people to ask advice or support from in the time of need. In some cases, you can even earn an income collectively, and then you are less dependent on the government, which I think is the plus, because in this community, if you're able to have your start to have your own access to water, if you're in a situation where you are having your own resources, your own energy, whether it's electricity, then you feel more secure, because no matter what's going on in the world, whether there's a panic on I think the new panic now is that electricity prices are going up and everyone is panicking. Another panic is the food shortages that's happening. No matter what is going on out there, as a community, you have nothing to worry, because at this stage you are self-sufficient. So let's now look at some examples of working models, actual communities that you can actually visit if you want. They're so welcoming and so open for you to go there and learn. And they've been doing it for years. So let's see some of their model and see how we have adopted some of that and put it into the Farmstead Project. So this is a wonderful community, a community of 50, would you believe, of adults and children ranging in the age from 0 to mid-70s. Now they're living on a 40-acre organic farm, which I think is absolutely wonderful. I love the diversity of ages, and I think I can just imagine the wealth of knowledge that they have in this community. Now, the house and the stable block are divided into 19 self-contained homes of different sizes. So again, this is a model that is very similar, that they do have the farm, they are open to people of different ages, And also they have divided the land into 19 self-contained homes. So I feel like they really get the best of both worlds. So this is some pictures from these communities. Now, one of the common question is, if I'm going to be in this on this land, in this space, would I have to talk to people all the time? Would I have to be around everyone 24/7? Do I have to constantly do everything together with people? I'm worried that I may not get my own space for me to recharge. So this is why I had to add this slide in, because this is questions that I've asked this community. How do they function around each other? Now, in terms of the communal activities, they produce food only for themselves. Every Thursday is when all the members meet. So that's one meeting a week that they have. This is to maybe raise some concerns, maybe, or maybe to give some suggestions if they wanted to. The communal activities and the dinner happens on Saturdays. So once a week is when the whole community comes together to have dinner, which I think is beautiful. As a community, they harvest hay, fruits, and potatoes together. And this is optional as well. So this is mainly the time when all the community come together to work together for hay harvest, to harvest fruits and potatoes. Now, another thing that I wanted to highlight is that when it comes to communities and being a community, it's also nice to have some kind of income that keeps the community self-sufficient. So in this case, they may not, or they don't sell their food, but collectively they do make money else in other ways as well. So collectively they make money through camping and glamping. Some work outside the community part-time, which I think, you know, again, I want to highlight the fact that just because you're going to be part of a community, it doesn't mean that you have to exclude everyone else in the outer community. You're still able to function day to day and still be part of the wider community. And also some of the children goes to local schools in the local community as well. And I wanted to bring your attention to the legal structure in this case. The legal structure is they use a trust. Now, the reason why I've highlighted that is because that's another question that people have when they hear the word community. Is my money going to be safe? You know, what if somebody, you know, goes off and steals my money? Is my assets going to be safe? Is my land that I purchased going to be safe? Now, one of the benefits of the UK law is that there are certain structures that can actually protect you and your money and your assets as well. So again, that's why I had to put in there their legal structure is that they've used a trust, because this is the way that they have chosen in order to make sure that everyone feels safe and everything is legally there for them to be safe. So no, in other words, nobody would be running away with anything. Now, the next few slides will be mainly about the Farmstead Community Project, and hopefully we'll go a bit more deeper into the idea and how it will take place. So the Farmstead would focus mainly around 4 areas. We said we're going to keep it simple. It will be the regenerative farming, the community and spirituality, the education and research, because it will be lovely for us to invite other people, or maybe even other communities or other like-minded people who would like to start communities, and for them to come and learn from us and learn from our blueprint so that we can share some of that wonderful knowledge. and also an ethical business. Now, I've always said there's nothing wrong with starting a business. There's nothing wrong with trying to find ways to be able to financially sustain yourself. But what we do want to promote, especially in our community, are business ideas that does not harm individual people, and is more ethical. Obviously, when it comes to ethical, each person could be different in terms of what they seem to be ethical, but these are the kind of conversations that we want to be having in the community in terms of the kind of businesses that we have, to be able to make sure that it's something that we as a community can be proud of. When it comes to how the space would be designed, it will be mainly 3 areas. So you will have the farm, and the farm will be the heartbeat of the space. It will support both the inner and outer community. Anyone will have the option to support and be part owner whilst managed by our permaculture experts. Then you will have a section of the land that will be for the living space. So each plot size will be just under 1/4 of an acre. You will have the option to get more than one as well, but please do be flexible. Please don't expect to apply for 6 or 8 plots, because we do want to allow other people to be able to benefit from this opportunity of being part of a community. So there are only 20 plots that are available. Now, this plot, this is your space you legally own and can design it however you wish. So this is a space that nobody will have a say on. This is for you to use however you wish and design to however you want to design it. We will go a bit further in the slides a bit later on. And when it comes to the plots, you will have the option to choose which view that you would like. Maybe it could be you prefer to be more around the woodlands, or maybe you prefer to be facing more around the pond or the hills. So that would be a choice that you would have. Now, when it comes to the community acre, this will be a dynamic space supporting the needs of the community. It will have an inclusive playground, also a clinic that holistic practitioners can use, an educational workshop, an industrial kitchen, and also a spiritual center for arts and sound therapy. Basically, this will be the space where it will be the hub for the both inner and outer community, and basically where our wonderful barbecues and campfires will be. Now, I'm going to be talking about the features of the land. So when we're at the stage when we're looking for land, these would be the features that collectively we'll be looking for. So the size will be at least 13 acres upwards, because that will put us in a really good position when it comes to certain legal loopholes. We would like a green belt. We would like some privacy on the land. Also a natural stream so that we are self-sufficient when it comes to water. A fish pond, ideally, but if there isn't one, then we would be maybe looking at designing one. An edible landscape. I guess this is where my expertise will come in, because if there isn't an edible landscape, the idea is to design one to be part of the land. So this will allow the community to access fresh fruits and fresh fruits and fresh things off of the land. A woodland, we would be trying to look for a woodland, whether it is on the land or maybe close to the land. If not, then that will be another part of the design that we would be bringing in, because it would be nice to be able to be sufficient when it comes to having our own firewood and other beneficial things that a woodland brings as well, the diversity, and also a food forest. I love the idea of picking blackberries in the summer. So it would be nice to have something like that on the lands that we can kind of do collectively together and share some of those surplus that we have. Now, I wanted to kind of get a bit deeper into talking about the community space and how the layout would be. So again, like I said before, the idea is that there will be an educational workshop. So this space would be people from the inner community, which are those that are interested, or the wider community will be able to have access to use this space. Maybe within our lovely community, there may be some teachers who would like to use the space to be able to teach maybe adult courses or link it to their business. Or there could be some members of the community that are that may have children or nieces or nephews or grandchildren, or maybe they're even just homeschooling parents as well. So they can be able to run certain sessions in this educational workshop space. Next, we have the holistic clinic. So this will be a space where if there are members in our community that have wonderful holistic type of therapies, they'll be able to use this space. Maybe this is actually their business, so this could be done, in this space. I know that even though we love the idea of nurturing the soil, we do want to keep our health at a good high level. So this is one way. Then you have the spiritual center. These are the places where we'll be having our healing circles, again, used more for therapy, just to make sure that our mental well-being is at top, very top and crisp. And then we have the outdoor kitchen. This would be a place, probably will be the most used space. This would be where a lot of the barbecues and bonding will happen, because food always brings people together. And then we have our inclusive playground. And this is something that I feel like is sometimes missing when I go to view other communities. I like the idea of a space where everyone feels included, whether you have a disability or you're able-bodied. So this is one of the reasons why I'm trying to bring in this inclusive playground and bring in activities where no one will feel left out, whether you're a child or an adult. So the community or the communal acre can also be a space where it can generate income. So if this is a space that can generate income, this will be any money that is generated would then go back into our community space and being able to distribute it to uplift the community. So maybe there may be things that we want to maybe purchase as a community, and rather than it coming out of our own pockets, it can come out of this communal pot. Maybe there may be some fencing that needs to be done. Maybe a lovely suggestion from someone could be, can we have more trees, please? Maybe more of a windbreak or more fruit trees. So I can't wait to be able to have these wonderful conversations where people are sharing ideas of how we as a community can uplift ourselves and make it even better. So that's the idea. So when we have the educational workshop, the holistic clinic, these can be spaces that could be hired out as well to the wider community, and they can also come in and maybe hopefully be inspired by how we run things, hopefully. So I'm going to talk a bit more about the personal plot. This area is owned by you to design as you wish, and this is an area where you control. So again, the plot size is just under 1/4 of an acre, because we wanted to leave some space to be able to put roads. you would be able to use it for your own personal, if you want to be on the land and you have any personal projects, but also this could be a space that maybe you can use as a to lease out to other people, or maybe to have some to generate income. So it could be for camping or glamping. I am aware that there are some people who would love to be on the land full time, but maybe due to certain commitments, they have to be closer to the city. So I wanted to let those individuals still have that option, so that when they are weaning down, they have a space too. So if you come under that category, then please understand that there are many that because the space is your space, feel free again to sublet it if you need to in the meantime, or to lease, to maybe lease it out, maybe to do some camping or camping services, or maybe to use it to start a small business in terms of maybe growing vegetables and starting a veggie box. So the idea is that we're trying to be very, very flexible, because not everyone's situation is the same. You will have the option to pick where your plot will be. And again, like I said before, you can have more than one plot, but again, please be very reasonable in the amounts that you want to purchase. Just to let others have this opportunity. And each plot will cost £3,000. Now, I've put this slide in because I said a view that you choose. So not all individuals are the same. So why should your plot be? You will have an option to pick your plot depending on what area resonates with you. You can pick between 6 diverse options available, and these options will be either the woodland or maybe the farm view. Maybe you like the idea of being closer to the farm. If there are any rolling hills, maybe that's something that you would like to be closer to, or the pond or the orchard or even the meadow. But again, please just be aware that it's first come, first serve when it comes to this. So in order of the completed payment, because I just have to be fair, in that situation. So when it comes to the farm, I thought, let me also show roughly how the layout of the farm would be. So this farm will be jointly owned by members of the community who are interested. So again, you don't have to be part of the farm, so please don't feel like you have to be involved in that. That is actually optional. The aim is to produce local vegetables and produce and sell the surplus to cities like in the Midlands, London and Manchester. So because of the work that I've done, and especially up and down in the UK, I do have a very good network, especially in the north and also towards the southeast region, because I'm based in London. So when it comes to produce, we do have networks where we can be able to sell to, but this would not only be the only feature of the farm. We will be having some horses so that we can cater to equine therapy. This is really, really good, especially in those maybe adults or children who needs to be around horses. Is really, really good for mental well-being. There will also be a woodland area. So myself, I really love archery. I do have a license as a licensed archer. So it will be really nice to be able to share some of that skills and have fun with like-minded individuals who also enjoy archery. There will be areas for produce as well. Hopefully we should be able to have our own bakery, and then again livestock for produce. So how to make money? As much as we want to get away from the fiat currency, we do have to understand that we do need some kind of financial stability, I'm going to say. So when you do have your land, maybe you're somebody who is like, that's it, I want to be out of the city. I just want to just be on my land, be there full time. And this may be something that could be appealing to you, because you may be thinking, well, how do I basically generate an income? How do I generate money? So one way, the most popular way, is through glamping and camping. I do have a friend who has a farm based in Wales, and I'm on the Telegram group. And already, I mean, we are just approaching April now, and he is fully booked for the whole year. So especially in the last year or two, there's been an increase in staycations and people trying to connect with nature and get outdoors. So this is something, you know, that you can explore. You can either just maybe just have just a piece of land, and then it's people that will come with their own tents, or you can be somebody who has a maybe yurt or a cabin, and that could be rented out for a higher price. I know it can go between 70 to up to 350 pounds per night. So there is a, you know, you can make quite a good income. Also, you have the veggie box scheme. So maybe you are someone who's growing food on your own land, but then you have surplus. So there is, I've come across certain YouTubers where they have a quarter of an acre of land and they're able to produce their own food and have surplus to support 6 other families through their veggie steam box. You may be somebody who's a natural teacher and you want to share some of your knowledge and passion with the community. So that's what the education workspace is there for, to maybe invite people, or you can even start doing it straight from your land. Another way could be to actually work on the farm. It will be brilliant to basically have your work right there on your doorstep. Another way could be maybe you're going to buy 2 plots. Maybe you have 1 plot for yourself, but then the second plots could be one that you would lease out to other members or other people who love the option of being able to trial some of their businesses before committing. Or it could be people who maybe live locally and they want it as an allotment. So that's another way that you can earn money. And the final way, well, not really the final, but another popular way could be that you have an online business. And I know that micro communities will be more than happy to support you and, you know, distribute whatever business that you have to try and support you. So I thought to bring this slide in to talk about the project roadmap and how is it that we are going to get from where we are right now to hopefully being at stage 6, celebrating that we have our land and our vision is here and we're living our dream. So the first step will be to actually raise the funds. So we are in the beginning stages right now where we are trying to call out to 20 like-minded people or families. Again, the idea is that each plot will be £3,000. You do have the option to have more than 1 plot, but obviously for each plot, then that will be £3,000 each. Now, even though we are looking for 20 families, if I do get to the stage where we do have 10, that will be okay, because then we'll be going ahead to the next stage. And the reason why I'm confident is because I know that once things get moving, once the land is there, people will come. So I'm not too worried about holding out to find 20 people first before going ahead and purchasing land. Then we'll have the next stage where once we again go through the brochure. Maybe it will be a land that we all agree that it does suit exactly what we are looking for. If we go there, I'll be more than happy to go there to obviously visit the land to make sure that I'm able to give my own expertise on whether this land is suitable or not, and others will be welcome to join in to have a look at the land as well. So once we get to that stage, and now we are at a stage where this is a land that we potentially can put a bid on, this will be at the stage where people would then have to decide whether they want to go ahead or not. So between stage 1 and stage 2, you have the option at any moment to withdraw and say that you want your money back. I don't, because again, this is more about building a community. The last thing I want is for somebody to physically be there when their heart is not in it, when they don't want to be part of it. So it will be very unfair and unjust to hold someone's money down. So at any moment where you decide, actually, do you know what, Midi, I think this may not be for me, then you just let me know, and it just takes me one click of a button and the refund will happen straight away. But if we get to a stage where we have seen the land and I've said, right, from my perspective, I think this is a land that fits all of our criteria that we should bid on, I would give you about a day for you to decide whether you want to withdraw. So up until that, then happy. Once I have put an offer in and the offer gets accepted, then please understand that it won't be as smooth to return your money back, because I obviously have to put our money down to put down as a deposit to hold that offer. Now, I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm just saying that it won't be a click of a button return. So in that case, once you have decided, if you do decide afterwards, then it will be something where maybe myself or other shareholders will have to then buy you out in order for you to have your money returned. So I wanted just to be transparent for you to understand between stage 1 and stage 2, you are more than welcome to withdraw at any point, because that is your right if you don't want to go ahead. After the offer has been accepted, it will be, we have to buy you out, or you have to sell the land in order for you to be able to get your money back. Once we have put an offer and at that point the offer has been accepted, then usually it's not just straight away. You have to wait a couple of, it could be days, it could be weeks, for the solicitors to get involved and, do their special thing and making sure that everything is as it says in the contract. That will be the moment where we will then create the trust, because the structure that we are going to be going to, that we will be adopting, is that we would take the legal structure of a trust, because that protects you and that protects me. So this is when we would then form the trust, because at that moment we then know exactly the members that have now committed, and their names will now go on the documents as well. So that's the reason why we have to do the trust after the offer has been accepted, because then we actually have the asset at that point. Now, after we have formed the trust, then this is the exciting bit, is the design. This is where I can't wait to have this conversation with everybody. There'll be a lot of wonderful ideas, and maybe people would even we can inspire each other in what we're going to do with our plot of land, get some inspiration, and maybe even as a community, maybe look at and visit other communities to see what kind of things that they've done that we could adopt to our plots. So this will be the design period, and this will be conversations that we will then be having with myself, because I'll be the permaculture expert in this case, and also our landscape architect as well, because they will have to, you know, get involved in order to be able to design the land exactly how we want it to be. Whilst we are waiting for the design, we have land. This is the bit where we can breathe and just celebrate and just enjoy what we've achieved. This would be the time where we would maybe do more camping on our actual land. We can invite our family and friends just to, you know, enjoy in some of, you know, enjoy in what we've achieved, basically, because we want to share this wonderful news. Maybe we could even use this time to maybe even generate some money in order to go towards the communal area, so that we have some funds to start doing the communal bit. So this is, again, this is the time where we just literally just enjoy this journey of getting to the point where we could actually stand on a piece of land that we know that we own collectively. In the meantime, the building works will be taking place. I know there are some people that have voiced that they would love to have a nice little cabin, like the one that I have showed in the picture on my website. I know there are some that may want to do it themselves, and it could be like their own family project. So wherever building works, whatever basic infrastructure that has to be put in place, obviously depending on what we see on the land, this is the stage where all of that will be going on. And then there's the final stage, which is just to enjoy the fruits of our labor, basically. So this section would be just questions that people have asked that I thought would be nice for others to hear what the response is. So the first question is, how will the community be run? So now, again, the legal structure that we are going down on is the trust route. And with the trust, this, again, trust is an umbrella term, by the way, but with this specific trust, this will allow each member to have a share and have a vote. Now, they will not be able to vote on what you do on your personal plots, because that is a space that is legally owned by you. But when it comes to, for example, the communal acre, the community acre, where all of the workshop is going to be, the industrial kitchen, maybe the surrounding area, or maybe any issues or suggestions that people have, this would be a place, this would be how we would then discuss and then vote amongst ourselves in which direction that we should take it. So that is how it's going to be run. Now, will there be any additional costs? The plain answer and simple answer is yes, there would be. £3,000 is the cost for the plot. But please be aware that when purchasing land, it's not just about buying the land. There are sometimes fees that comes afterwards. So again, like the legal fees, the solicitor that has to do their part. The good news is that this will be split between 20 other people. So I can't imagine the fees for the legal costs, you know, the admin cost and doing the trust and all of that, you know, that should be very, that would be covered basically, and it would be at a minimal cost. My advice is to put £500 aside. I would say put that aside, so that hopefully that covers everything that needs to be done. So that would be my advice. And also, please be aware that when paying your £3,000, there will be a 5% processing fees. It's something that I have been it's something that I've been unable to avoid. Obviously, when it comes to these different card companies and the crowdfunding page that we're using, they would usually, you know, take their cut in terms of processing the transaction. Now, I personally don't feel comfortable having money sent into my private account. So this is the advice that I've been given, to make sure that there is a third party involved, so that, again, it protects you as well, and it also protects me. So when you put the money in, you would get a receipt by the third party. And then when it comes to if you decide that maybe you want to withdraw, it is a lot easier to be able to process a refund, and then there is a paper trail to say that that refund has happened. So this is the reason why there is that little bit added extra of that 5% processing fees. But those are the only two additional costs, where when you compare it to the grand scale of things, it is quite minimal. So can funds be generated for the communal space? The answer is yes, it can be. I am in the process as well of trying to see if I can get some grants as well in order to go into this space. One of the ways that we can generate funds could be that whilst we're waiting for the architect, the landscape architect, to do the design, maybe we can use that space and invite other people for camping and to support us, so they can see what we've achieved, you know, to come and camp with us and maybe pay a small minimal cost to say that this is going to go towards this wonderful communal space that both the inner and wider community will have access to. So that is one idea. And if I'm honest, I'm open to other suggestions, and I can't wait to hear other amazing ideas that, you know, you would also come with, in terms of how we can again utilize our resources together in order to achieve, you know, this wonderful common goal. Will there be investors? The answer is yes, there will be investors. Again, like I said, I've been really blessed to have worked with people both in the UK and internationally. And when they've heard about the projects that I am doing, you know, they, even though they may not be based here, they really love the idea of being able to support an ethical business, an ethical way of doing things, especially when it comes to the farm. So yes, so this is where the investors, you know, will come in. Can I sell my plot later on? Absolutely. It's your plot. You can do whatever you want within limits, obviously, within reason. But yeah, it's your plot. If there is maybe a reason, maybe you've outgrown, that would be a lovely success story to say, maybe I've outgrown my plot and I'm now embarking on this wonderful adventure to buy, you know, 20 acres of land. I don't know, now I'm just, you know, dreaming in terms of the success. If that's the case, that's absolutely fine. You are more than welcome to. And the only thing that I would say is that please allow us, the community, to maybe have the option of purchasing that land first, because as you can imagine, when you have a group of like-minded people that you've spent time and years growing and bonding with, you do get a bit protective of who comes into that space. So just to keep the positive energy flowing, I think it will be nice as a community if, you know, we can maybe have a say on who can join our wonderful community. So it's just something just to think about. Can I sublet or make a secondary income? Absolutely. You can be, you know, again, this is your space, your own plots and your space. So you are happy to decide how you want to utilize that space. If you are going to be maybe subletting it or leasing it out, as long as you just let us know, because again, you know, we are trying to, you know, support each other, right? So if one day we're walking and we see a strange person on your plot, you know, our first reaction is to call you and say, hey, there's someone on your piece of land. Are you aware of this? But if you let us know, then that's absolutely fine, so that we are aware. And then maybe we can be that second pair of eyes for you, just to make sure that everything is okay whilst they're on that land. Can my child inherit this plot? Absolutely, yes. The whole, again, idea is that this project would, be able to go on for 7 generations and more, so this will be at the stage when we do the trust. This will be the conversation that we will be having so that we can have the documentations ready in case if anything maybe happens to you, then we have a copy of what you would like to happen, and it's all documented in the trust. It's sealed, it has the lawyer's stamp on it to say yes, they have witnessed it, and it's absolutely fine. So why is it purchased under micro communities name? So MEC stands for micro communities. The reason being is when it comes to buying land with farmers, they don't like to sell land into small little bits and plots. So one, it gives us an advantage, so we can just purchase the whole thing. And secondly, if you remember previous slides when I was talking about certain legal loopholes, by having that size and it being under one name when purchasing it, you get to kind of jump through a few legal loopholes. So that is the reason why. Will the plots be next to each other? The answer is no. So when it comes to the plots, this is the reason why you can be able to pick different views, because we do like the idea of allowing people to have their own privacy and their own space. So there may be a chance that you may have maybe 1 or 2 other neighbors near you, but it wouldn't be directly next to you. It will still be a distance away, but maybe in that area. So maybe if there is a woodland, and if the woodland is maybe, I don't know, 3 acres, so there's a chance that within that 3 acres, there may be 2 plots in there, basically. So that then, but again, it's not next to each other. So you have your, you have your privacy. What is the timeline to build the basic infrastructure? So the timeline that we've given ourselves is hopefully it to be completed in a year. I say a year, I'm hoping it's going to be even less than that, but I would say please give us a year, and if there is any other hiccups along the way, then my aim is to be very transparent, and you would know each step of the way. But this doesn't stop you from accessing your plot. This doesn't stop you from transforming your plots and adding your wonderful creativity into your space. So this does not stop any of that. So again, if you have any other questions, feel free to email me, or you can go through microcommunities.org.uk and then just maybe fill out one of those contact forms so that you'll be able to, share any of your any questions that you may have. So if you have reached this point, it's because you've probably fallen in love with this project and you want to be part of it, and you're wondering, how can I? The first thing is that you will have to register your interest. So the way you register your interest is through microcommunities.org.uk. And it's just a quick form, just basically your name and then your email, because that's quite important. That will then lead you and bring you into our Telegram group, where you'll be able to meet other like-minded people who also share the same goal as well of wanting to be part of a farmstead community. Once you have done that, then discussion, we would then arrange a quick Zoom, just so that you get to actually meet me in person. I think it's only fair that you see who I am, so that we could have any further discussions. Maybe you want to ask a bit more questions about something. Once that has happened, then it is literally just to basically pay the amount and fill the form out, and then you'll be part of the shareholders group. So when it comes to land, where we are aiming to look for land is round about the Midlands. So this is the region where we are aiming to look for. It is a very, it's, you know, bang in the middle between maybe someone that's from the north or someone that's from the south. So yep, so this is the region. So again, it's a, you know, I've helped quite a few communities help them purchase, you know, land around, you know, this area. So I am quite familiar with the Midlands, and they're there's wonderful people. They're not as brash as compared to us that are from the south. Now, just to talk about a bit more about micro communities, like I said, one of our aim is to have people access affordable, you know, access land at affordable prices. But we're more than that, you know, that we also want to develop this wonderful network of like-minded people, you know. So again, we do have a separate Telegram where you're more than happy to join. This is a public Telegram group. So all you have to do is just go on Telegram and just search micro communities and you will find us. And this is where, again, you will find like-minded people where we share resources, share skills. Maybe you want to connect with certain working professionals. Maybe you have an ethical project that you like to support, or maybe you are somebody who have a skill and you want to support other ethical projects, whether maybe you're a photographer or a lawyer or a carpenter, you are more than welcome. Or again, if you do have a wonderful idea and you want to find like-minded people when it comes to you know, ethical businesses, then again, please do join us, because we are more than welcome to be happy and support anyone. Just a quick call out, as I have your attention, if you are somebody who owns land or a building or a farm, or maybe you are again interested in sharing your burden with like-minded people, or maybe you've just purchased land and you'd like to share your story and to inspire other people. Once a month, I tend to do a wonderful what's it called, a wonderful meeting where I invite guest speakers to be able to share their stories to inspire people as well. So please feel free to contact us. I do have a podcast again that is in the making as well, so it will be lovely to hear your story, or it will be maybe you want to, you know, share your land with others so that we can all again be this wonderful community. So if you are any of these three categories, please do contact me on microcommunitiesorg@gmail.com, and we can start having this wonderful conversation. So I would like to say a big thank you for you if you've reached this part of the presentation. We're finally coming to an end. Oh. So again, just our Telegram group. This particular one is a public group, so this isn't the Farmstead Project. Please do join us. If you're really interested in the Farmstead projects, then please go on microcommunities.org.uk, where you'll be able to register your interest. Or if you're somebody who wants to connect with me, or maybe you have some questions, then please feel free to email on microcommunitiesorg@gmail.com. And again, just wanted to say thank you for being part of this journey in terms of seeing the presentation, and hopefully I can't wait to meet you and to welcome you to be part of our community. Thank you.